the real way to biohack, the way that people are really going to get a benefit out of their life and possibly extend their life and the quality of their life and, improve their health and all these things that biohacking purports to be about. But it's really coming at it from the wrong angle as far as I'm concerned. The only thing those things do is monitor how much better Purium makes your body. You know what I mean? So what most people want from biohacking is exactly what we offer, okay? And so if you're gonna extend your life, you can extend the quality of your life, if you want a better life, you have to look at what is taking it away. The disease you never get is the disease you never die from, and I'm gonna say that again a little later in this presentation, but why do people die? Why do people no longer live? That's it. You're no longer living when you die. So heart disease, cancer. Now let's look at that. What causes heart disease? Typically overeating, honestly. Typically eating the wrong foods, honestly. The hydrogenated oils, right? Being overweight, having stress in your heart. That's what typically leads to heart disease, but what leads to cancer? Well, if the heart disease doesn't get you, the cancer will, because of that same food. The third leading cause of death, back to being related to food. And so it's sort of hard not to ask yourself, how is it that, this lifestyle isn't what's killing us? So if it's the lifestyle that's killing you, what's gonna save you? If the lifestyle is killing you, what's gonna save you? Purium. And what does Purium off? That's right, that's what we offer. So the leading causes of disease, again, the disease you don't get is the disease you don't die from, okay? Now, originally, what they're calling biohacking now was called phytochemistry, right? Phytochemistry, who remembers back in those days? Well, the National Cancer Institute, one of those leading causes of death, did a study, and they showed that food prevented cancer better than any medicine, any drug, anything. And they were talking about it. And Inc. magazine, a pretty well-known magazine, called up the National Cancer Institute, and they said, well, if this is so powerful, if it could prevent cancer, then everybody's gonna want to do it. Wrong. So who's leading the way? And so they interviewed 3 companies, and we were lucky enough to be one of them. And they said, these are the 3 leading companies in this new thing called phytochemistry. Well, the other 2 companies are long gone because they went about it the wrong way. And long gone and wrong. But we went about it the right way. Organic, whole foods, concentrates, pure food, organic food. And that's why we're still here. But the conversation changed, and then it was reframed as epigenetics when they found out that there were genes on top of genes that actually dictated how those genes were expressed. Like you have a car, it could go left, right, or straight, and the engine is the gene. But the left, right, or straight, the direction signal comes from these epigenes that sit on top of the genes and tell the genes what to do. Well, guess what tells the epigenes what to do? The food you eat. Crazy, right? So now we've got 2 pieces of really strong evidence, okay, that the food you eat dramatically impacts the quality of the life that you will live, including the expression of diseases, even in a family that has genetic predispositions. You can change the destiny of your genes. Now, the study they did of twins, and it's very interesting to read, identical twins that led different lifestyles and had dramatically different outcomes. It's sort of hard to deny. Epigenes are real. Now, like I said, prevention is the number one medicine, right? Prevention is the number one medicine. The disease you never get is the one that never kills you. And so true biohacking has to start with food. True biohacking has to start with lifestyle. True biohacking is not about machines. It's not about monitors and devices. It's not about things you plug in. You've got to plug into the way you eat. Now, if you look at the commonly accepted description, like I said, of biohacking, I want you to notice some specific phrases, some specific words, and tell you how we fulfill that. I'm gonna have to look a little bit closer, but I think we talked about this a little bit already. Okay, it says that it is sort of do it yourself. No one else could do it for you. And that's the truth about almost everything in life, you know? Someone can clean your house, maybe, but everything else you're gonna have to do yourself. When you talk about just who you are. So we have brought this into 4 different packs, and the packs have I don't know if you call it a basic and an ultimate, but we gave them a little bit different names. So the Brain Boost Biohack Pack. The Brain Boost Biohack Pack. Y'all cool with that name? All right. Well, the first thing, if your brain is going to be boosted, guess what? These signals that come from the lining of our gut that go to our brain, that create that conductivity, that connectiveness, are critical. If your brain isn't working, it's probably because its twin, the second brain, you know, we call the gut the second brain. So the second brain isn't communicating with the first brain. And that's gonna give you fogginess, tiredness. It's gonna make you feel disoriented. But it may just be a little bit, and it will build up over time so you don't notice. So one day you're a little bit disoriented, a little bit foggy, a little bit tired. And then the next day or the next week or the next month, you're a little bit more. And this keeps building until you just accept that as the way things are. Because it didn't happen overnight. One day it was this way and the next day it was that way. No, it's chronic and it's degenerative. So aging is a disease because it's chronic and it's degenerative and it leads to death. And you've heard me say this before. So first we have to restore the conductivity of our 2 brains, and Biomedic is gonna do that. Then it would be nice if we started to peel away, okay, some of the clutter that's around the pineal gland so that we could process information. You know that our brain is a really good engine, but the thing that processes information is the pineal gland. And so when we detoxify the pineal gland, our brain will be able to process information faster and better. And then, as you know, Revive-It-All, the formula for Revive-It-All was on the cover of Reader's Digest, said the aging of the brain has been discovered. No, the aging of the brain is basically no longer gonna happen because of this product. The end to aging of the brain, okay? And then Apothecary helps you sleep. And when you sleep, you also process information. Most of the healing that we do in the body is done while we sleep, and the pineal clear and the apothecary work really good together, because the longer you're in deep sleep, the greater chance you're gonna have of detoxifying the pineal gland. So your deep sleep and the detoxifying the pineal gland, the connecting the brain to the gut again, this pack will have your body, your brain working better, and it will be undeniable. Now, who has taken the pineal gland and the Revive-It-All together? Is there anybody? How long did it take you to feel a result? Hours, the same day, that night? Like, seriously, that night, the first sleep you get, you're like going, wow. Like, you know, it's like Jumanji, you know? You like that one. So, you know, and that's the truth. So this Brain Boost Biohack Pack. Now, if you're into biohacking and you tried to do this yourself, There's no way you could put this together yourself. There's just no way. So even though biohacking is do it yourself, it's a partnership. You know, we're gonna be the ones that get that box to you, just like IKEA. Now, the next one, okay, my apologies. This is the ultimate version of that same pack. And what we've done is we've added super xanthan and white American ginseng. Now, super xanthan, as you know, has that amazing ability to reduce inflammation. And the white American ginseng is just phenomenal for reducing cellular oxidative stress, for bringing more oxygen to the brain, and for just overall enhancing our mental and cerebral capabilities. So the ultimate brain boost pack, the 4 basic products, and then 2 additional products, which I believe make it an ultimate brain boost pack. And we like bringing that ultimate word in, like the ultimate lifestyle transformation. So I thought that was a really good thing. Now, collagen is really in big demand in a way because of aging. So one of the main things you want to do from the beauty side, if you want to fight aging, and this might be more of a women related issue, but I take it myself, the Renew Hair, Skin, and Nails, the Apothecary, and the Dark Berry, and then combine that with the super aminos. Now what you're doing, the super aminos have been clinically proven, and they're in the physician's desk reference for increasing the elasticity of your skin. The elasticity of your skin is sort of like those pants that stretch, right? If you happen to, need those. And so the skin will stretch and contract. It will tightly contract around your tissue. And that is really important if you want your collagen to be firm. You want the layer that keeps it firm on the outside, okay? The super aminos are critical to that sort of, firm skin approach to collagen. Now the dark berry, as you know, was specifically designed with the exact proteins, okay? And specifically selected fruits that are, again, scientifically shown to impact our collagen, to keeping our collagen young, regenerate itself, renewing itself. So the dark berry was specifically created for that. Now, the apothecary, again, simply because that deep sleep is really critical to the health of your skin. That deep sleep, again, we've talked about it before. The plus in the collagen plus is that not only do we build up your collagen, we're making the skin around your collagen stronger as well. So Renew Hair, Skin, and Nails, the apothecary, the dark berry protein, and the super aminos, I think that this is a pack that is getting pretty popular among people who are on the beauty side, The next pack is the ultimate pack, the 40X aloe vera. I don't know if you know, but our 40X aloe vera actually increases the rate that your subdermal cells become your epidermal cells. So your skin raises from the subdermis through the dermis to the epidermis, and the epi means the top part. And it typically takes about 36 days for that process to happen. And oftentimes the skin that reaches the top has already been damaged by sunlight, by whatever, soap you might use, by the chemicals in the water that you shower with. And sometimes by the time those cells 36 days later, they actually are already looking old. But did you know that our aloe vera 40X has been proven to reduce that time to little as 12 days? Almost 1/3 of the time that your dermal cells will be rising to the top. And that's really important. That's why your skin will be glowing. How many people, I just want to know realistically, how many people have used the aloe 40X? Because it's one of our least known products. Have you noticed that within about a week of taking it that your skin has started to glow? I know that I have, and I take it nightly. So if you want to come up, I'm just joking. So we added the aloe 40X, and of course, what else? The Power Shake. I mean, Power Shake is known everybody tells me I started drinking the Power Shake and everybody started complimenting my skin. So here we have, it's an ultimate pack, it really is. It's not just the dermal, the subdermal, and the collagen, it's everything. It's everything between your bones and your skin that we're trying to support here. All right. Now again, the leading cause of death in America is heart disease. And Can't Beat This, as you know, increases the strength, okay? Increases the strength of the heart in a couple of ways. But one of the ways is by increasing the amount of oxygen, increasing the blood flow, increasing, circulation, increasing oxygenation, and it increases the integrity, okay? Increases the integrity of our cell linings, so that we can actually hold more oxygen, so that we have more of what our body needs being delivered to it. Now, that vascular integrity is critical, and it's one of the reasons, the lack of vascular integrity is the reason why people have stroke as well. So the ionic elements, it is 40% magnesium, and magnesium is one of the reasons, it is the way that our body deals, okay, with stress. It actually relieves stress at the muscular level, and magnesium is responsible for most of our parasympathetic muscle activity. That's our heart beating, okay? It's what helps it remain doing it the right way. So super stoked about the ionic elements. And again, Biomedic, it reduces the C-reactive protein massively in just 3 weeks. And of course, C-reactive protein is a biomarker for inflammation. Inflammation is one of the reasons for heart disease. Does this make sense to y'all? This is an amazing pack. And then when we boost up the pack to the ultimate pack, we add the super xanthan, inflammation, and the apothecary, inflammation. It's all about inflammation. You guys know that. So this is an amazing pack. And remember, you're gonna notice that in most of these packs, there's 1 to 2 of the products that are already in the Core 4, already in the ULT. So it makes it pretty easy to up-level people. Okay, you're already doing the ULT, you're already doing the Core 4. Let's up-level, and we'll turn it into one of these packs. And the last one, as you know, I think we're pretty good at this, the Super Xanthan, the Athletic Performance Pack. We've had something similar. It's been a good seller. The Super Xanthan, obviously amazing for endurance, but also for muscular stress and recovery. The Super Aminos for building muscle. The Super Life for maintaining healthy testosterone levels. And the Can't Beat This for all the reasons we said. But Can't Beat This is like a natural energy drink. Don't go and take a Red Bull or whatever those things are. Just have a Red Beet, okay? And that's what you really need. Not Red Bull, you need Red Beet. And so the Can't Beat This is a natural energy drink, but we've also added a little bit of yerba mate, because we know that sometimes that's desired before a workout. So Can't Beat This is amazing for all the right reasons. And then we have the ultimate athletic pack, where we add the white American ginseng, like I said, reduces stress, increases energy, and the joint flex, because if you're working out hard, you're going to want a little bit of recovery help. And the joint flex, as you know, when I was in a head-on collision and they told me I wouldn't walk again, I used the joint flex. I didn't have any of the surgeries. I didn't take any of their medications. I used the joint flex and our other products, and I am standing here in front of you now. So I even walked up on the stage just to prove to them that I would do that again. So this is another way of reframing how we can help people really focus on their future self, because people need a why. We need to help them find their why, you guys. We need to help people find their why, because honestly, they may not even know they have a why. They might not, until you start talking to them, to asking questions. So, my daughter, a lot of you might know her situation right now. She told me, she goes, it's so funny when I am dating, she goes, the men just talk all about themselves. They tell me all their accomplishments, what they did, what they did in high school, just everything about themselves, but they never say, so tell me about, asking questions about her. And she knows at the end of the night everything about him, but he knows almost nothing about her. And she just says that as a joke. But do you know that it's all about asking people about, don't tell them all about Purium. Ask them all about them. Then they're going to know that you care, and they're going to tell you why they need Purium. They're going to tell you, people like to tell you about their problems, don't they? Well, one of their problems is going to lead you to saying, that's why you need Purium. I mean, in a nice way, but honestly. So people ask people, what does your future look like? What do you want for yourself in 5 or 10 years? And when you ask people that question, they're going to be far from that. But do you really think you're going to get there the way you're living now? I mean, you don't say that, but that's the truth. So, your future self is this crazy thing. How many of you know about the 7-year cycles of our cells, 7-year cellular cycles? So the cells that can replace themselves, and I think it's about 80%, do replace themselves every 7 years. So that means your future self, 7 years from now, is going to be built from the food you ate when? 7 years, the last 7 years. Because that's the 7-year cycle that you're rolling through. So your cells today are going to be a result of what you ate in the last 7 years. So think about that. So who are you going to be? What is your future self going to look like? Your future, remember, CEL. Now, it started out just being about nutrition, okay? We understand that we need to adopt a new language. We can't just tell people. It started out being about vitamins. Remember, like years ago, oh, are you taking vitamins? And then it was, are you taking vitamins and minerals? And then are you taking a multivitamin? And that was all obviously, but it was progressing, And then finally we got to the fact that, oh, it's food. It's superfood. It has to be organic superfood. It has to be pure organic superfood. And that's where we are now. It has to be pure organic superfood composed into, okay? It has been, mixed and composed and is right what you need. And that's what Purium's all about. But it started out just being about nutrition, okay? But check this out. Now we want people to make an investment in their future self. And when you ask people to make an investment in their future self, to practice epigenetics, to practice phytochemistry, to practice biohacking, then you could actually ask them, people would be more comfortable spending $200, $300, $400, even $500 a month on their future self. But are they really spending that much? Well, first of all, like I said, this is to meet people where they are. I jumped ahead when I said that we've got to ask questions, right? So we have to meet people where they are. We're adopting a new language that people understand in today's, jargon. But it's still asking people to invest in their future self. So I want to ask you a question. If you went out into the ocean to a boat that's capsized and asked the people in the water, would you like to buy a life jacket? What would they say? Heck yes. But they didn't put a life jacket on before, right? And when we're talking about looking, feeling, and performing better, we're really telling people, we got to convince them that you're going into rough seas. It's called the future. It's called getting older. And you're going to want a life jacket. Okay, and some people, they're still going to refuse it. They're not going to want one. But if you could frame it in a way that makes them understand that they can invest in their future self, that's going to change everything. So you got to find your way. You got to find your language. You got to use your own personality. But somehow we need to reframe this to let people know by the time they're into their next 7-year cycle, that it's a result of their last 7-year cycle. If they want to start investing in their 7-year future self, if they could see that far ahead, to invest in that 7-year future self, they will start feeling better today. They will. But it's really, the investment has to be a long-term investment, a long-term investment. And this isn't about 30 days. It's not about 10 days or 40 days or even 90 days, okay? It's a lot more than that. You gotta invest in that future self. Now look at this person at the top playing tennis. Looks pretty thin and fit, but they're the same age as the person in the lower picture who's walking in a walker and maybe wish they, who knows what they're wishing, but they wish they didn't have that walker. I guarantee it. They may not be wishing they were playing tennis, but I bet they wish they didn't have that walker, okay? And so we're not talking about performing on a football field. We're talking about a heart that's still strong. We're talking about knees that can still walk. We're talking about a hip that hasn't been replaced, okay? How many people have had that happen to one of your relatives? Hip replacement, knee surgery, heart attack. I know I have. This is the investment that we make, and I'm really serious about that. So let's talk about how much that investment costs. Who has had resistance when you tell somebody, I want you to make a $300, $400 investment in your future self? Who's had resistance? Okay? But let's talk about it a different way. Let's say that you make that $400 investment in your future self, but all of a sudden, you stop going to restaurants once a week. You stop driving through fast food, which, why does fast food cost so much? I was wondering. How is it that I know that when I was a kid and we went to fast food, it was because it was cheap. My parents were broke. But now, you go through fast food and it seems to be like really expensive, like $14 and stuff for a hamburger and fries or whatever. That's crazy. So let's talk about the money that you save by not going to restaurants, by not going through fast food, by not buying prepared food. And at the end of the month, you're like, whoa, I spent $400 on Purium, but I saved $200 to $300 on stuff I didn't do. We call that subtraction by addition. And then we talk about, oh my God, I didn't have any medications, I didn't miss any days at work, I didn't have to see the doctor, I have a higher quality of life, and the cost of that, being able to play tennis or whatever it might be that you want to do, go on a walk, take a vacation, when before you couldn't even think about that because it's just too much trouble with the way you feel. Well, that's priceless, okay? So we've got these 4 packs. We're gonna start there. But I'm also thinking about a healthy hormone pack. I'm thinking about a seasonal allergy pack as the next possible too. But it's not time for the seasonal allergy, But if you guys have suggestions for packs, please let me know, okay? Please let us know. But these are the 4 that we feel good about. Now I'm gonna say each one and you tell me which one you feel strongest about, and you could only pick one. So everybody look and see which one you feel strongest about. We're gonna start with the Brain Boost Pack. All right. The Healthy Heart Pack. Athletic Performance. And those go, ooh, ooh. All right. And the Collagen Plus. All right. Honestly, I'm sort of the same, like the healthy heart and the brain. I'm really excited about because I think we could talk to people about those like right away. If like it's easy to talk about athletic pack, you know what I mean? Hey, we got this athletic pack, but I really think that we're on the right track with these biohack packs. If you're feeling the same way, please let me know. Does anybody feel like these are going to be conversation starters where you didn't really have a place to start before? And what about continuation? Okay, you're done with your 90-day. What do I do next? Does anybody feel like this might help them there? I can't afford a 90-day. What else could I do? Right? So I think that these are ways to get you into the game, and I think the average price is about $180 to $250 for the packs, and then it goes up, maybe $100 after that. So I think they're more affordable necessarily, so you could get people who you might not have gotten before in a way that you might not have gotten their attention before. And I want to remind you that it's look, feel, and perform. And the perform is the most important. I've seen people in walkers, I've seen people struggling to walk upstairs. I've seen, those things, and it breaks my heart. It really does. Aging is a disease. And I don't know anybody, I was talking to some fellas, and he goes, oh yeah, I just turned 40 and I realized that, I'm not gonna live forever. And I said, well, that's good, because some people don't realize that till later. So you really have to start consciously acting in your own body's defense. You have to make a promise to your future self. You have to make a commitment to your future self. And when you ask people, why didn't you do it? It's because your why. You would always say your why needs to be strong enough, And when your why is strong enough, when you start working out, people are gonna say, hey, what have you been doing? You're looking good. And you're gonna say, oh, I've been doing Purium. Has anybody here been gotten a compliment after you started Purium? Right? Well, I think that these biohack packs are a really next step, and I want to remind you that the first biohack pack is right here in front of you. The ULT is the ultimate biohack pack. Really. I'm gonna explain why. We've got the cherry in there for all the reasons: the deep sleep, the rejuvenation, the antioxidants. Do you know that has the antioxidant power of 5 servings of blueberries? We got the biomedic in there, and both the cherry and the biomedic help your body react to inflammation. We said it's all about inflammation. The green food helps your body react to inflammation. It's all about inflammation. You're gonna alkalize your body with the green food. You're gonna nourish your body with the green food, okay? And literally, this is the ultimate lifestyle transformation. It's also the ultimate biohack pack, because for all the reasons I explained. So thank you once again for, whoops, go back. I don't know how. There we go. So, so I want to thank everybody for being here today, and for, making that commitment to being here today. And I want to take some questions, if anybody does, about the biohack packs. If anybody's wondering, right here.
Dave, I work in the autism sphere.
Yes.
And lately I've been consulting with a lot of families that are interested in seeing the change they've seen in my son, who's 23 now, who has been on ULT and is a regular Purium. He takes it.
I think we're talking about a spectrum pack.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so neurodiversity is, as you know, one of our passions, and we call it a superpower, and so probably 1 in 3 children born today are neurodiverse, which means that
1 in 6.
1 in 6. Well, I think it's higher, and the neurodiversity doesn't always express itself as the same. In fact, it almost always expresses itself differently. There's, if you meet 2 autistic children, they're rarely going to be the same. They'll have certain tendencies, but they won't be the same. And so what Purium has done is we have a lot of products that we have recommended individually. And I think it's a really good suggestion that we put those packs together, because even though not autistic children are the same, what helps them almost always is. You know what I mean? And so if you'd like to see a neurodiversity pack, raise your hand. All right. Well, that is an amazing suggestion.
Epigenous family, a lot of our kids are picky eaters.
Mm-hmm.
So they will almost invariably drink the chocolate epigenous family.
I love that.
That's a really good thing.
And that gets the biomedic, it gets nutrients, and yeah. Amazing. Yeah, thank you. What's your name again?
I'm Nancy Allspaw Jackson.
Nancy Allspaw Jackson. Great suggestion. Thank you. Anyone else have something to share back there with the green, with the hand up? You. So what we're probably going to do is like have these, I'm not sure what the executive decision is, but my choice would be to have these sort of replace the ones so there's not confusion. But we're going to check out what the sales are on those packs and sort of find out how we should handle that.
What was the question?
She said we have some packs now that are very similar to these packs, and she was wondering if we're going to keep both or have these replace those. And I think that we're more than likely going to have these replace those, but if there's a profound reason why we shouldn't, then we could keep them both. I also wanted to just mention, that this is about longevity. I personally have made it my passion to study longevity since long before it should have mattered to me. I met Jean Comment when she was 119. She lived to be 123. She has shown me what human life potential is. There was a French study that showed that men who died of natural causes between 75 and 80 still had half of their stem cells that had not been used and half of their, basically half of their stem cells and half of their, what was it? No, I'll think of it. But the bottom line is the things that dictate, you think, oh, well, they're old because they ran out of these things, like they no longer have, well, it's not true. That genetically, we're actually capable of living to be at least 120. Okay, at least 120. And so why is the average lifespan of a man in the United States 70? Why is the average lifespan of a woman 75? Well, no, part of it is because of infant mortality, but that's almost eliminated, okay? Most of it is because of disease. Most of it is because people die far too young of heart attacks, of cancer, and things like that. And so I wanted to take those leading causes and I wanted to change the conversation. I wanted to change, when you have an average and you take away that number that, I forget what they call it, mathematicians could tell me that number that's really low, and you get rid of it, then the average goes up quite a lot. Well, I want to start doing that for humanity, So I really believe that these biohack packs are addressing some of the main things that are happening to mankind today. And those things are avoidable. Those things are, defensible. And I really believe that these biohack packs are going to be easier to go out and talk about. And that's what I was thinking about. I thought, when we talk to people and we ask them, hey, who wants to transform? Well, most people, like I said, they don't really understand the word. And then they think to themselves, maybe, is there something wrong with me that I need to change? What do I need to transform? And so I wanted to explain to them that the transformation we're talking about is your future self. The transformation we talk about is your biological wellness. It's not that there's something wrong with you. This is biology at the point where we're working in this 7-year cycle. And if you could start to have conversations with people that don't seem like we're in judgment of who they are today, we're just telling them in reality who they might be in 7 years. This is easier for them to accept. It's easier for them to, to sort of get engaged in. Does that make any sense? All right. So any other suggestions for packs from out there? We got all the way in the back. Are you singers? There's 3 of you. Is this a trio? Talk a little louder for me. Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things. She asked about the biomedic and what's the substitute if you can't take the biomedic. So I want to say two things first. Has anybody ever eaten gluten-free pasta? And you were okay with it, right? Well, there's less gluten in like one bite of gluten-free pasta than there is in a serving of biomedic. Does that make sense to y'all?
Just the opposite.
Oh, the other way around.
Yeah.
There's more gluten
There you go.
in a tablespoon of gluten-free pasta than there is in a serving of biomedic. But that having been said, we do have an alternative, and that is taking the aloe digest and the ionic elements. Okay? Did you hear me? There is not a single product substitute for biomedic. You're welcome. Oops, there we go again.
Dave? Hey, Dave, so
Yeah, last question.
how about if somebody has celiac, can they take the biomedic?
I can't tell you that if they have celiac, they can take the biomedic because it says right on it, contains gluten. Right? So obviously I couldn't possibly tell you, ignore that. What I can tell you is what I already told you, which is that there's less gluten in a serving of biomedic than there is in, which says has gluten, than there is in pasta, which says it doesn't. Okay? Now you could make up your own decision based upon that, but it does say contains gluten. Okay?
So let's give it up for Dave for being compliance oriented.